everybody. Welcome to the Kat Timpf Show. My guest today is Kennedy. Hi, Kennedy.
Hi, Kat.
Hi. She works at Fox with me, and obviously you were an MTV VJ.
That's right.
Which I wasn't allowed to watch.
That's
MTV.
right. That's probably for the best.
How did you even start doing that, by the way? I don't even know.
I started in radio.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So I started in radio. I was interning at a radio station in LA, at a music station, alternative music station, K-Rock, still there, still big deal. And I used to go into my boss's office every day and bug him. And he said I was the only person who would just walk into his office and start talking to him. And that interns didn't have that relationship with the program director. And I didn't really feel the need for boundaries.
Right. I'm not very good at boundaries in general. They're kind of tough.
They are tough.
They're really tough.
Exactly. And then when we impose false boundaries on ourselves, that's when we limit.
Yeah. See, I remember
our glorious potential.
Before I worked at Fox, I was on your shows on the Independents, and I was like scarified. I was scarified of you. I was terrified of you. And I was really weird and awkward. It was my very first panel show ever, and I sucked so bad.
Well, that's a good sign because it's actually good to not do well your first time, because if you do well, you never try hard.
Yeah.
But if you don't do well, then you try so hard that you actually get good at something, like you are now.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like going from MTV to Fox. I mean, like, did you just like deal with like crazy stuff all the time when you were at MTV? Was it just like?
Well, you're more insulated from the craziness in the 1990s on TV than you are in any medium now, because there was no social media.
Yeah.
There were no cell phones. The email was brand new. And so there was really no way for people to reach us. I did get a lot of mail, and I got a lot of hate mail. And so, like I do now on my show, I had a hate mail segment.
Yes.
And I taped a lot of it to my dressing room door. And there were always like curious weirdos, like people who want you to wear pantyhose. And there was this one guy who wanted me to wear my glasses down at the end of my nose. And he would send pictures of celebrities, and he would draw in glasses on their noses where my glasses should be. And he said I should never push my glass up because I look like a nerd and a dog. I only had one stalker. And
it's harder to stalk without the internet. Like
it is, but it's actually really hard to stalk with the internet because it's so easy for people to trace you.
That's true.
So if you tell someone, I'm going to come find you, then you take it to the head of security or your friend who's a cop, and they go, oh, great, we know exactly where this person is.
Right. A hate mail, actually sending mail, that's like probably more passionate. A lot of it.
And one of my favorite memories was my mom came to New York to visit, and someone had done a very elaborate pencil drawing of my headshot. And my mom, who's an artist, was like, this is so pretty. Can I please have this? This is such a nice rendering of your face. And I was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Take it home, frame it, do whatever you want to do. And I didn't have the heart to tell her. It was someone in the penitentiary sent that.
I still get penitentiary sometimes. Yeah, some guy that is in the prison for his whole life because he killed his mom and like hit her body in a cornfield. But he thinks it's like he still shouldn't be in prison. Because, so much time has passed.
Yeah, that's one of the things they all have in common.
Do you, like, who do you still keep in touch with from, like, people you met through MTV?
Tabitha Soren, Kurt Loder, Bill Bellamy. Dallas reached out to me recently. John Sensio I talked to. Simon Rex I talked to when I did my book. And then there are various producers and executives, like my boss, Andy, who is the program director, whose office I used to go into every day when I was 18.
Yeah.
He is one of our best friends. And he and my husband are now working together.
Nice. You always, like, I mean, you always have, like, all, like, these cool guests on your show on Fox because you, like, I don't know, you, like, know musicians. Didn't you say you went to, like, doesn't, like, Chris Novoselic, or doesn't he have, like, a farm life or something? Because I keep seeing him because he's talking about, like, libertarian stuff. So I've, like, seen him pop up again.
Yeah.
Where does he, like, he lives on, like, a farm and like, goes
just in Washington State, just over it's probably like an hour over the Oregon border. But he's had that farm for a while. It's really cool. I mean, he created a life for himself post Nirvana that's very idyllic, and he's always been into music. You know, you would think someone like that, their life could easily fall apart.
Yeah.
And he just made this really cool life for himself. He used to live, he had a cool purple house not too far from downtown Seattle. And when he and I first started hanging out, it really wasn't at MTV. We weren't friendly at MTV. The only person I knew, sorry, I'm going to cough.
Do it.
The only person I knew from Nirvana at MTV was Pat Smear.
Mm-hmm.
And we were friends and we would hang out. And I knew Dave Grohl a little bit, and he dated a friend of mine who was a snowboarder for a while, but we weren't close or anything. And then when I moved to Seattle, when I left MTV in 1997, Chris and Dave, my husband, and I would hang out, and he'd come over for barbecues and stuff, and it would blow my husband's mind.
I was going to say, that would lose my shit.
Yeah, he's like, Chris Novoselic is on our patio eating a tuna burger, and this is so weird. But it was, it's like there weren't a ton of people that I knew in Seattle, and we had a lot in common. And then we went on a speaking tour together, and we were kind of different ends of the libertarian spectrum. And Jello Biafra was on that tour, and Jonah Goldberg was the token conservative, and Exene Cervenka from X. And Woody Harrelson was on for a while, and the Indigo Girls and Ralph Nader. I mean, it was the most bizarre tour, but it really influenced me because I got to hang out with progressives, and that was the first time I realized that there was a big split in liberalism. I hadn't realized that before that because I had sort of lumped everyone into the leftist Democratic category, but then there were all these anti-corporate progressives who actually despised Democrats, and they didn't like Bill Clinton. And that was during the Clinton era.
Were you, so you, obviously you're libertarian, you're independent, like small L libertarian type. Were you always that way, or you used to like consider yourself conservative?
No, I considered myself to be a conservative Republican when I was at MTV and when I was 18. And that happened in high school because I was really politically active, and I did Girls State and Girls Nation and youth legislature and student council. And I interned for my state representative. And I got a Republican elephant tattoo when I was 18, as soon as I moved away from home.
Really?
And could afford the $50 tattoo. And it wasn't until I got to MTV and Kurt Loder and Penn Jillette both pulled me aside separately and were like, you're a libertarian. Like, you're not a Republican, you're a libertarian. And when Penn said it, I didn't really know what it meant. And then Kurt gave me an Ayn Rand book.
Nice.
And so I read that, and it kind of made sense. And then... and I got to know Frank Zappa a little bit, who, considered himself to be an ideological libertarian, I would say, on his behalf. And when I moved to Seattle, that's when I really started sort of investigating that political
So you
philosophy.
still have an elephant tattooed on your body?
I do. Yeah. And it looks like a pig. That's a sad thing. Like, it was never really a glorious, like, I didn't get the proper Republican elephant.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, that doesn't really look like an elephant.
No, it looks like a pig with a misshapen snout.
I have no tattoos whatsoever.
Yeah.
I know, not yet. I feel like I don't have I feel like I have a tattoo personality, but I just don't. I don't know. I get scared.
You really got to commit to it.
You really do.
Because you're going to have it. I mean, that's the thing. Like, nowadays, people think tattoos are kind of disposable. Mm-hmm. But back in the good old days, it meant that you were either in a Japanese gang or you were a biker, and it meant something.
Oh, yeah. Now it's whatever.
Yeah.
I did get my belly button pierced when I was like 18, but everybody thought it was like really cool, but it was not cool.
Do you still have your belly button pierced?
I took it out like a couple months ago. I was like, it's time to be an adult.
Yeah.
But that's like the only thing I did for that. I don't know. I mean, you got married like, when did you get, like, I know that you guys been together forever.
Yeah, 27.
Yeah. Jeez, but you guys dated for like 9 million
We dated
years.
for 5 years before we got married.
Yeah.
And then we waited another 5 years to have kids.
Yeah. That's...
Because I wanted to finish college.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely.
And I didn't start college till I was 28.
Weren't you pregnant at
Yeah, my
college?
last year, my senior year at UCLA, I was pregnant.
People probably thought you were like...
knocked up by a teacher. Because I would tell them that.
Really?
Anyone who would ask, I'd be like, yeah. It's like, how else are you going to get A's? Am I right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People probably like...
GPA is great, though. I'm going to have a baby, but I'm also going to have a Latin honors at graduation.
There you go.
Yeah.
People probably thought, yeah, exactly. Because you went like to what school did you go to again?
I went to Santa Monica College for 2 years, and then I got a Regent scholarship to UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
So I got school paid for at UCLA, and it was a great system for me because I didn't have to apply anywhere. I never took the SAT. I went to community college and got good grades, and UCLA sent me a letter asking if I wanted to apply for the Regent scholarship, and I did, and I got it, and I was stoked because I didn't have to pay for school.
But that's great, but there's probably not a lot of like married pregnant people walking around UC.
No, I mean, it was surprising because anyone over 25 is considered a non-traditional student, and so we would stick together. Like the older students, we would stick together because we were the ones who wanted to get in and out as quickly as possible. And we took school so much more seriously because we'd already had jobs and we all wanted to get back to the workforce. And so, but I still wanted to have a full college experience. And so I went to Greece for a term at UCLA and studied in Athens. And it was funny because there were 4 of us who were right around 30 and everyone else was like 18, 19. And there were like, 15 or 18 people on the trip. And it was so funny because like we were the adults and then there were all these sorority girls. And it was so hysterical because you see the world so differently when, you've worked and had a different sort of competitive life. But we all sort of grouped together and professors always appreciated the non-traditional students.
Right.
Because we wouldn't waste their time and we wouldn't beg them for grades. We really would like try and do the work and study.
Yeah.
But then we weren't as much fun. I mean, there wasn't enough binge drinking, I don't think.
Yeah, binge drinking I think is still fun at any age.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of it myself. But like, so you were on like TV and then you weren't, and then you went to school and then like you were back on TV again.
Yeah.
Did people like after you were done with MTV, like did people treat you like differently? Like you must have like had some like, crazy for being 18 years old.
Yeah.
Was there ever a moment where you're like, holy shit, like what was that?
I mean, the thing about it is, people are like, oh my gosh, that must have been such an insane time. You must have partied so hard. But I was straight edge the entire time during MTV. I didn't drink. I didn't smoke. I was vegetarian. I didn't have marital relations until I was 24. Like it was a long time, a lot of just observing. But I was still a spaz. Like I was still so impulsive that I think if I drank or did drugs during that time, I don't know that I would have survived or emerged relatively unscathed. But the interesting thing was leaving there when I did, I just assumed that I would get another job.
Yeah.
And when I left in 1997, I moved to Seattle with Dave. And I just assumed, like, I'll get a neat Seattle TV job or I'll get a TV job in LA and just commute.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. And I had to work like crazy to get a job. And it took me a year and a half to get a job. And I was doing sort of like odd job, weird hosting TV stuff here and there that paid a little bit of money. And thank God Dave was gainfully employed. But I ran through my savings and then started doing talk radio, which was really transformational for me because I had to work really hard. It forced me into a work ethic that I wasn't used to. And it helped me with preparation, but it also helped me find my political voice. And the cool thing was I was on an FM talk station with a program director who wasn't really interested in the show. So it meant that there was a lot of time and space to experiment. And that's when I really got into sort of investigating what libertarianism is. The WTO riots happened in 1999 as my show was on the air. That's when I was doing that speaking tour with all these people. And it was a great time of political exploration and sort of like reinvention because I had to really figure out what I wanted to do from there. And, if I wanted to move back to LA or New York, and eventually did move back to LA in 2000 and started doing more talk radio and more sort of random TV stuff. And then in 2001, that's when I went back to college.
When were you at KFI? Because I know that you and I were both
2008 I did fill-in and stuff really until 2013, but I did a full-time show from 2008 to 2010.
Yeah, so does it make you a little mad now when you see kids that are like really pissed they don't get to go to college for free, or they take out a lot of loans and they're like, well, I don't have to pay it back. I mean, I know a lot of people who are even my friends who they're just paying off the interest on their loans because they're just assuming that someday everything will be forgiven.
Yeah,
debt-wise.
And I think that's a horrible personal philosophy to have.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's like people get really mad at Donald Trump for filing for bankruptcy, yet people want to default on loans because they're inconvenient. And, my feeling is I'm glad I did it the way I did because it worked for me, which is, I started out in radio, did some TV stuff, did some more radio, figured out that there was a big piece of my education that was missing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to fill that with something because I always felt there was something missing on that end. But it wasn't until I really figured out what I wanted to study that college was a good use of my time. It would have been a horrible waste of time at 18. It would have been awful.
Yeah, people go and they just study whatever they, and then they're like, oh, I don't,
Or
I
whatever
hate
they
that.
think they should be studying.
Yeah.
But if you study what you're passionate about, you're never going to get a job in that field, so it defeats the purpose. So why not go and find employment? And nowadays, more than ever, if you've done something interesting with your life, if you've started a business or created some cool project and haven't gone to school, but you can still sell that, that's way more valuable to an employer. And I interview people on my show all the time to be writers and producers and stuff, and I'm so disinterested in an Ivy League degree because I look at someone and I think, oh, well, you were probably fancy growing up and you figured out how to game the high school system.
Yeah.
And, your brain worked well in that system and then you went to Harvard or Brown, but that doesn't tell me anything about the person.
Right.
I met a photographer who had traveled around the world, like, taking weird pictures of birds and boobs. And I was like,
nice. Birds and boobs?
Yeah.
Specifically. Like that was on purpose?
Yes, that sticks in my mind. And I thought, and I really wanted to find a place for her. Because I was like, I'd way rather talk to someone like that and have them, I'd be interested in what the world looks like through their eyes. I think that'd be a greater addition to the show than someone who's had a pretty easy road going to a school with grade inflation.
Yeah, I mean, I got into Columbia for grad school and I just didn't go. And I started interning at KFI instead.
Yeah.
Traffic reporting, worked at Boston Market, lived with 2 ecstasy dealers for a little bit after my boyfriend broke up with me.
Yeah.
All of these things are more, I learned more than I did probably from going there.
No,
All of these
absolutely.
things. But yeah, I don't. And this it's people who study and they're book smart. A lot of people, they can't see the things that are going to happen in the real world. You've been saying all along that Trump's going to be the nominee.
Yes.
You were someone that was saying it from all along.
But I was begging for a Trump-Sanders face-off. I was really hoping the entire time that something would work out for Bernie, if for no other reason than to see 3 of the most entertaining debates ever
of all time.
Yeah.
I still feel bad. Well, you called Jeb Bush Jen for some reason.
Well, no, because what happened was it was during one of the debates, and I misspelled his name because are the B and the N next to each other? I think they are.
I don't know, but I like it.
Well, so I misspelled it as, the B and the N are next to each other.
Yeah.
So I misspelled it as Jen. And then I just went with it, and then people kept correcting me, which made me laugh because
like
everyone,
as if you don't know.
Yeah, and everyone's a busybody, and they're like, "You keep writing Jen, it's Jeb, I'll have you know." And then I started doing #Jen, and then I stood in front of his bus in New Hampshire, and someone photoshopped Jen with a big exclamation point, and it took off.
I feel bad. I feel bad for him, which I shouldn't. I don't know why I feel bad for him.
I know, isn't that weird?
Right?
Yeah, because it's like, he has a privileged life.
Yes.
He's already been governor of Florida. Like,
yes.
He's fine, but still, there's something so humiliating about his story because he thinks he's the next guy. Like, for him, it's a dynasty. Like, it's the most natural thing for him to walk into the room and all of a sudden, it's the Oval Office and he's president.
Mm-hmm. And then I remember him walking around after one of the debates, just kind of milling around, looking for someone to hug. And he did not have anyone to hug.
Oh, no one wanted to hug him.
I did. I would have, but only because he was losing so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, are you excited for the Trump and Hillary debate? Like, are you pumped?
It's the only thing I'm excited for. I mean, I think they're both unattractive candidates.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're both statists. I think they will both increase the federal deficit, and they're going to go on such rampant spending sprees because I think they're both going to get so drunk with power and be so impressed with themselves that one of them emerged the victor, that it's really going to screw the country. So the only thing to look forward to, and it's so momentary, are these debates, because I think they're going to both inflict so much damage on each other that it's going to be fun watching them bleed. And the only thing libertarians can hope for at this point is that there is some dual scandal that takes them both out. Yeah. And, Gary Johnson with his running shoes is left standing, and he's just going to be shrugging shoulders going, I don't know. I have no idea why I'm here. I'll be president. Sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, with his weed lozenge business.
If you take the I side with test.
I just think a lot of young people are libertarians and they just
don't know
it yet. Yeah. Gary's the best. No, I mean it'd be great to have him up there too, but we'll see if that happens.
I'm still hopeful. All it's going to take is one of these major scandals to rock, but you need them to happen to both people.
Yeah.
And I was really hoping that Hillary would be indicted. I mean,
Me
again,
too.
so Bernie Sanders would be the nominee,
Right.
and Trump and Sanders would face off. And I think so much less would get done with Bernie as president because both parties, both houses of Congress would be filled with people like, I cannot sign on to any part of your agenda because I want to be reelected again. Therefore, there would be total gridlock.
Yeah, I you know what I really was into for a while were those conspiracy theories that the Clintons were paying Trump to do this.
I still think that
I'm not saying I think it's
that may
true.
not be true, but it's still plausible, and B, I still think there's a part of it where he didn't expect to get this far,
No.
and I think right now, because the president was right about one thing when he was talking about TPP in the press conference with the Singaporean prime minister, is that Trump's gaffes are so regular now, and I think part of that is just the utter exhaustion from the campaign and knowing he's still got 3 months left of it. And I think it's really gotten to him.
Yeah, I think he's just. Did you read the article? I forget who wrote. Someone who used to work for him said the plan was for him to like come in second.
Yeah,
and like show he could screw up the system. At this point, it's like Hillary's had such a bad news week.
Yeah,
with like the jobs thing and with like the convention and the repeated like getting caught in lies about emails.
the Chris Wallace interview.
Yeah, and it's just over and over again. Trump hates babies.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's pretty funny. Trump says Hillary's a devil. Trump makes fun of a Gold Star family. Like, it's almost like he's doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
It's almost like that.
Yeah, and I mean, he's like, what's the most ridiculous, wildest thing I could possibly say right now? And it's like he cooks it up in his little brain laboratory.
Yeah.
And then people are like, you didn't just, like, really?
Although I said this.
But it's his ability to double down on stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't just go for it and then kind of walk it back. He goes for it and then he extra goes for it.
Yeah. He says, yeah, no, I meant that.
Yeah, 100%. Not only did I mean it, I'm going to say something twice as bat poop crazy.
Exactly. Although I've done the thing where sometimes if I can think of something, I was talking about this on the Gutfeld show actually last week. Like if I'll be like with someone, like a dude, usually it's like a dude, and I'll think of something crazy to say, like I wonder what would happen if I said this, and like I know I shouldn't, but then it's like too late and I have to say it.
Yeah.
I'll be like
you can't even help yourself.
Yeah, I'll be like,
because if you sell out and don't say it, you fail.
Yeah, I'll be like, if you don't call me back, like I'd be like, I told someone I would kill their dog if they didn't call me back.
Oh, does that work?
No, they didn't call me back, but like I was never actually gonna kill their dog.
Yeah,
it was just like I couldn't.
Was it like reverse psychology? Like I never want to talk to this guy again, so I'm gonna seem so crazy that he's gonna drop me.
Yeah, it's never like when I really care. It's just sometimes it just can be way more funny to just be weird, and once the thought has entered my head, it's already like too late.
Yeah.
But it's never anybody that I actually like really enjoy. A lot of garbage, a lot of shitty dudes out here. Gotta tell you.
In New York?
Yeah.
I think you gotta go somewhere. You gotta go somewhere, like to Alaska for a couple months.
Yeah.
Where dudes
I'll
are
get right
plentiful and hard up.
Get right
and then
on that.
and pure, like they've got good skin and beards.
Yeah.
And like you gotta snatch one of those guys and then bring him back.
Then bring
to the
him
big
back.
city.
Just go on like what do they do in Alaska? Like something with whales or seals?
Well, they do a lot of fishing.
Fish.
There are a lot of fishing boats.
Just go out on a fishing boat.
Yeah,
in
there are
search
people
of
that
a
do that.
husband.
They earn like $30,000 in the summer, and you just go 6 weeks, like you never sleep, and they're a bunch of dudes on a boat, and they see that you're real and you could survive in the wild, and that's attractive to them.
The thing is I'm not sure I can survive in a while. Where would I charge my vape?
Fish juice.
Where would I charge my vape on the fishing boat? Well, I mean, there's just not a lot of fully formed human beings, adult males, that I've encountered. So
Are they
far.
immature?
They're all immature, but not in like the way.
My
where,
mom used to say that, immature.
Not like in the way, like not in the fun way, just in the like.
Yeah, not like I'm spontaneous and I want to party.
Yeah.
Let's go steal a horse.
Yeah,
But like I'm gonna play games with you, and get you just hooked enough that you want to hang out, and then I'm not gonna call you back.
Then I'm
at
not
all.
gonna text you anymore. Or I was in I've been involved with guys who I'm like not dating exclusively, and then they'll get mad like, who you texting? Who? So it's like one or the other.
Yeah.
It's like too chill or like super possessive and crazy. But I don't know.
But I don't know what you do. Like, I don't even know what brand of advice to give.
Right. No, it's fine. I'll be all right no matter what. I'm not too
I
concerned
mean, do people
about it.
still get married and stuff? I went to a couple weddings recently. I think people still get married.
Well, I'm from the Detroit area. People in the Midwest definitely still get married. I don't have.
Would you ever move back there?
No.
Yeah.
No. Love Detroit. I love to visit for like 3 days at a time.
Yeah.
But I don't really know if I really want to get married at all. Really. I mean, I have like 2 married friends out here in New York. Nobody out here really gets married.
Yeah.
I feel like. It seems like. Did you like plan your what? Did you have like a wedding?
Oh yeah. We had a big wedding.
Really?
Oh,
Isn't that stressful?
Well, we were engaged for a little over a year, and my mom was super into it. And so we were living in Seattle. The wedding was in Portland. So I would drive back and forth on the weekends, and my mom and I would do stuff and like pick stuff out. And I was very pragmatic. I'm like, I'm not gonna fuss around with things. I'm gonna pick a cake, and I'm gonna pick a band.
Yeah.
And we picked food and wine together, which was really fun. And that's it. Like, you get a dress, you get a place, and stop worrying about the details, because people drive themselves crazy with details that no one cares about.
Yeah.
And my friend's mom did the flowers, and but the best part was the cake. Like, if you're going to invest in anything, have it be the wedding cake.
Nice. Yeah. No, I'm not married or engaged. My younger brother and sister, like I have a 24-year-old brother and 21-year-old sister. I don't know if any of us will ever get married. Maybe my sister. They have like boyfriends and
You're all in your 20s,
girlfriends.
though.
Yeah, I'm not like worried
I mean,
about
with
it.
medical technology, you don't have to have your first baby till you're like 55.
That's true. Although having a baby, I don't know if I ever really want that.
Not now.
No, not
don't
anytime
think
soon at all. It horrifies me. I still have nightmares that I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
And they're like nightmares. And I'm like, how did
That's so
this
funny. We have such different dreams. Because I have dreams that I'm in labor, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know I was pregnant. Yay.
And you're excited.
What are we going to name the baby?
Oh
Yeah.
no. I have ones where I like look down and I have like this huge like 9-month large belly and I'm like, how did I not notice this?
Why is that all pregnancy dreams begin in like week 38 of your pregnancy? It's
I
never
know.
like, when you're kind of queasy a couple weeks in, and
I know. I mean, I always just am like, how did I not notice this?
Yeah.
How did I not notice this? I don't know what that's about. I don't know what any of this is about. All I know is whatever. I live by myself. It's all right. I like Netflix.
you have a great couch.
Thank you for the couch. I did tell everybody that I had a lawn chair in my apartment on this podcast.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe you still do.
Dave saw the lawn chairs. And I don't have a bedside table yet. It is patio furniture, bedside table. And then I put a cloth over it. Then I spilled wine all over it. So whatever. But now, thanks to you and your husband, I have a couch.
That's right.
I have mostly, almost entirely, I can even say, indoor furniture on the indoors.
Nice.
So that's
And
really
you have a
exciting.
terrace? A pied à terre?
I don't have a
No.
terrace. I just had patio furniture on the inside. I loved throwing those patio chairs away.
Oh, isn't that the
I
most
felt really
wonderful feeling?
wonderful.
I love throwing stuff away.
Yeah. Well, the chairs had cushions that my puppeteer roommate had made.
Oh,
Yeah, I had a puppeteer roommate for a while.
that sounds exhausting.
Yeah, I told her no puppets in the living room. That's scary if you come home and they're like puppets.
Yeah,
in the
especially if
living
they're
room.
big puppets.
They're big puppets.
I mean, I know that's a commitment to a lifestyle. It just sounds like the kind of commitment I couldn't make as a roommate.
No, it was
Although
tough.
I had 2 roommates. I used a service in LA when I was 18 called Roommates Unlimited. And one was a balloon artist. And she made like the giant balloon arches for weddings. And
How much time does that take?
way too much time. And
Shit.
too much time talking about it. And the other one was a Jehovah's Witness. And I was so broke at the time. I was interning at the radio station and then making a ridiculously low amount of money, like below minimum wage, working at a cutlery store in the mall
Oh boy.
at the Beverly Center in LA. And so I was hardly making any money. And my parents were so sick of sending me money because I wasn't going to college. And that was the deal. If I moved to California, they would send me money to go to college. I stopped going to college. I was interning at the radio station. And my car kept breaking down. I had a 72 Volkswagen Beetle. And it just kept breaking down because it wasn't reliable and whatever. Anyone who's had a Volkswagen knows that once they go bad, once they go sideways, like they're never fully right. And so my parents had invested so much. So my Jehovah's Witness roommate, she really wanted to convert me.
Oh my God.
And so her way of doing that was taking me to the spaghetti factory across the street from our house and buying me free food. And so every couple weeks, my tummy would rumble.
Yeah.
And I would say, I think I'm close. I think I'm right there. I think one more plate of pasta, the manager special with Mizithra cheese, and I'm in. And she'd be like, well, let's go. And she would take me to the old spaghetti factory, and I'd sit and listen to her and put garlic butter on the free bread. And
How does one try to convince someone to be a Jehovah's Witness? Because I've never actually allowed one of those people to talk to me.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
if
Okay,
they if
cool.
they buy you food,
If they buy you food,
yeah,
what are the real quick? What are the benefits of being
you have a lot of friends,
That's true. You have like built-in friends.
built-in friends with food, and you don't have to worry about holidays.
That's true.
Save money there,
That's true.
and salvation. You just have to save a bunch of other people.
Okay.
But I think that's a math problem that you solve later. And you're just you're stoked and hanging out, and you're gonna go to meetings and do really fun stuff.
And the other one, her entire identity was centered around balloons.
Balloons.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Balloons and more balloons. And then when they moved out, the balloon artist friends moved in, and it was two brothers who were in a metal band, and their girlfriend, I believe they shared, and she was a stripper, and she worked
Hot.
at 11 in the morning.
Hot. So she wasn't a good-looking stripper.
Well,
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna infer. All right. Well, we gotta get going. I guess.
I've loved every
Sam's-
minute of this.
I have too. Well, I'll
Your
have to have
dream
you.
come true.
Oh, you are.
Thank you.
Oh, everybody. All right. You Twitter Kennedy Nation.
That's right.
Your show is it's at 8 o'clock Fox Business.
8 o'clock Eastern, 5 in the West.
Yes. All right. Thanks everybody. Thanks for listening. We're all gonna die someday.
Amen.
Bye.
Whee!